Today I have a very special guest, Bruce Badgley from Eastern PA Football. Thanks for coming on, Bruce.
Hey, I tell you what, Justin, thanks for having me. We got to know each other a bit at the Mid-Atlantic Pigskin Classic, and thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, it really was a pleasure meeting you there, Bruce. So to kick things off, can you just share with the audience a little bit about your background and how you got involved in the high school football game?
How I got involved in the high school football game is about 10 years ago. I just answered an ad for EasternPAFootball.com, and I got involved. My daughters, I had three daughters, all cheerleaders, and I didn't miss a high school football game for 11 straight years with all these cheerleaders, home or away. That's how I got to know high school football in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Indiana, where basketball is the passion. What I found by obviously following football for, the 11 years that I did, is that I found that football was the passion here in Pennsylvania. So I started reporting for Eastern PA football, and gradually moved on into not only just reporting, but I even used the sideline replay system for an app on a phone so that fans could see instant replay right on their phone. And this is pre-COVID, so that was kind of cutting edge. Then I got into live streaming, which I do now for, NFHS Network, for Penn Live. Originally just started doing it in conjunction with Alvernia University and Berks Catholic High School. And so now, yeah, I've done state championships in the state of Pennsylvania last year. Yeah, 3 football championships, all 12 basketball championships, 4 soccer championships, and all 6 baseball championships here in Pennsylvania for NFHS Network. So, and then I'm involved not only with football, but basketball. And with Penn Live, I broadcast football, basketball, and then we do lacrosse in the spring. So I cover the gamut of high school sports in the state, I think.
Yeah, wow. So you really are a jack of all trades, being
And I do Penn State football now. So,
okay.
and the
So
Maxwell Football Club. I mean,
yeah, so tell me more about what it's been like, just really being entrenched in the game to the extent that you are now.
I tell you what, it makes me feel young. Number one, I mean, being around all these young men, but really all the great relationships that I've been able to forge with administrators, with coaches, with families. Because families and community are really what high school sports are all about. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, I was at the Penn State game yesterday, and I was able to meet up with some friends whose son plays on the Penn State squad now, and to see them kind of go up through high school and now Penn State, and the type of relationships that you have. It's all about relationships, and that's what I'm most proud of throughout this. Not only with even that, but with all the media members too. I mean, it's just a great group of people that are promoting high school sports, and that's really what it's all about. It's promoting the teams and the players to the best that you can.
Yeah. And you talked about the impact of relationships, and you've obviously covered some of the top programs in the state. So what have you experienced and obviously covered and seen from some of these top programs in Pennsylvania?
Wow, I'll tell you what, the level of excellence of some of these teams is just incredible. So many times that I found, people talk about when we get to the championships that they want to see a good game. And, some people will be critical of the fact that the games aren't close rather than embrace the fact that that is one amazing team that just won that game. And rather than to say the effort that that team put into that championship was so incredible. That's the thing for me. I think that there's a lot of situations too where sometimes people talk about only certain areas or, you know, good in certain things. And rather than embrace, how great these teams are, sometimes they look on the fact of, drawing the negative. But those are sometimes people that really aren't engaged with an entire season. They just kind of like parachute in for the state championships and don't really understand that you really need embrace the excellence and see how and embrace the fact that these guys have performed at such a high level.
Definitely. And obviously, last week at the Pigskin Classic, we saw some very high level teams, including St. Joe's Prep, Imhotep Charter. So, what has that been like to cover? Maybe let's say like a St. Joe's Prep or an Imhotep Charter, and can you talk about some of those relationships that you have with coaches?
It's just amazing to me. Really, it's not just a one-shot deal. I mean, you have to build these guys' trust over time. You can't like to talk about. You can't just parachute in. Um, Most of these, and how I build the relationships with these teams and coaches or whatever like that, is really being involved with them in the off season. And with both of those teams, you touched on Imhotep Charter and St. Joe Prep. And those are teams that, I've been able to get to know and get to know the coaches in the off season, when they're working hard. And I really enjoy watching these guys really coach. Devin Johnson, um, Tim Roken, two top level guys. And, to be able to sit down and have a nice, candid, and confidential conversation with a top level head coach like that you've got that much trust, that just, with one another, that just really makes me feel good. And I think that that's what gives me perspective, on the game, is the fact that I'm not entrenched in just one conference or just one league or just one district. Okay. I'm involved in Philadelphia Catholic League. I do a WPIAL Blitz Show, podcast. I'm doing state championship games. I'm involved in District 3, as well. So I strive for perspective. And that's really what I try and do with all of my sports and not just in football, is provide perspective. And I think that that's really what, fans like.
Yeah, and you hit on the fact that you're promoting high school football and you're helping these coaches not only like obviously make a name for themselves because they've done that within their programs, but promote it and talk. And so I think that is very impressive that you've been able to make such close relationships with coaches in the area and and positively impact the high school game of football in Pennsylvania specifically.
Sometimes that's the most difficult part for me. And the reason is that I've got friends on both sidelines sometimes.
Right.
Somebody's got to lose. And that's the tough part for me now. Now I have, I'm proud of the fact that I've got a lot of good relationships with coaches, players, and families all across the state. And a lot of times they're played against one another, and I know the pain that a loss inflicts, because I see all of the effort that all these coaches and players and families and teams and communities put into each and every game and each and every season. And so it's hard sometimes for me because of that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And so as you've kind of been doing this, and you said it was for about 10 years at this point.
10 years. Yeah.
Okay. So you've of course seen players like you were talking about earlier go up into the college ranks and I'm sure even some professionally. Um, what has that been like to witness just the excellence of certain players that have gone through Pennsylvania?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it just enormously gratifying the fact that all the hard work that, like I said, and it's a family thing. It's not only the athlete, but their family with the support. Um, so much is expected of families in supporting, athletes, playing high school athletics. And so you just feel good with all of them as they continue to, meet their goals and that. So and it's really difficult to pinpoint one story is better than another because it's really not each particular story is unique in and of itself. But yeah, all the hard work that these players and families go through, and then ultimately to see their goals and dreams, come to fruition is really gratifying.
Sure. So, with that said, so our audience is, of course, high school football. What advice, or just from your experience as like a third party, what advice would you give to a high school coach to maybe help them promote their players to the best of their ability?
Yeah, that's a tough question because each coach, kind of has their own personality. And that's really what I like about, the game. But I think, being open to, the media, the best that you can. I know that, sometimes we are a necessary evil, and sometimes, we're what we're trying to do is just to get across the best possible perspective of, what you're trying to do as a coach and how you're trying to bring out the team. I think sometimes coaches get a little bit defensive because they're expecting, guys in the media to, or they've gotten criticized by the media and what have you, and I can understand that. But sometimes, like with one play versus another, when it comes to, media guys, sometimes coaches have to have short-term memory loss too, because ultimately, they're out there trying to perform or trying to promote the team.
Right. And just to that point, I think sometimes coaches like automatically assume that it's, a media person, maybe not trying to have like the best interest of the team, but obviously, as we've been talking about, your goal is to promote and just give the, I guess, ultimate perspective. Would that be a good way of putting it?
Yeah, I just I always like to interject certain things in a broadcast about, when I talk with Coach X and, when I see him in the off season and, um, having that trust. It's an element of trust that media people have to have with coaches and family members, and you only develop that over time, and that's what I'm like I said, for me, I touched on that earlier, but that's what I'm most proud of in this whole process is the relationships that I've forged with so many organizations, with so many teams, and so many coaches. Yeah, it's all about trust and trying to do things the right way.
Sure. And in one of your other roles, you had mentioned that you had started a sideline replay a few years ago before COVID. So can you just talk about that experience and maybe what you learned?
What I learned, yeah, is if got an idea, just go for it. And the other thing too is the fact that what I was trying to do is something different. Okay. Um, so much of coverage of sports is just the same old thing, you know. And so what this was pre-COVID. What this was a sideline system called Replay Locker, and I'm not even sure if Replay Locker is still in business, but it was a sideline replay system that you could use iOS devices, and it would create its own Wi-Fi network at the game, and then from the devices basically just create an instant replay, and you would have the opportunity to choose from what view you wanted to watch at that particular time. So I had three guys out there with cell phones, and anybody who came into the game could download the app and watch it on their phone. And the athletic directors in that didn't care because it only created that Wi-Fi network at the game. So it was only for paying customers. So it actually enhanced the viewer's experience by having instant replay on their phone. I was able to come up with a way to monetize it, got some sponsors, and it was pretty incredible. I knew I had something good when one time we were at actually a Wilson West Lawn game, and a guy's running down the sidelines, and he gets smashed by this guy just short near the goal line. And I had the Wilson athletic director jumping onto our replay saying, "Let's take a look at that. Did he really get in?" And I proposed it to the PIAA as a way that could, like on field, create that sideline replay system that, for a few years that was the hot button issue, is, getting instant replay out there. So but yeah, I tried that. And then I got into live streaming as well. I've continued to try and improve on that. That's a lot of fun. And so yeah, the replay locker, man, that was I was it was funny. I was looking at a couple of old highlights that were out on the internet there too. You could export, the view as well. And so I would export the view from the replay locker and would throw that out on Twitter, as a highlight of the game and everything like that. And it was pretty incredible stuff. So
Yeah, it really sounds like it, and it seems like you're on the cutting edge of the sideline replay back. That must have been what, 5 to 6 years ago.
yeah, it was. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, it was. And now I'm kind of experimenting a little bit with trying to put together like a full blown kind of red zone channel. I know that there's a couple guys working on that now. I really think that that's um, the wave of the future. I think that that's something, for high school football that, with a lot of the AI cameras that are out there, a lot of these schools are just kind of broadcasting their stuff, and they just kind of throw it out there, on their huddle cameras, and some of them don't even have sound. So, kind of experimenting with some software right now that will allow to take those AI cameras that are spread out all over the place, and then kind of bring them into a hub, and then actually have commentary. And we don't even need to be in the same room. And so we can go back and forth with different games and talk about what's going on and provide highlights and even instant replay too. So it's pretty incredible. That's in the works. I would say that that's going to be the next item up for bids on what I try, and I think that that's going to be pretty successful. I think fans will like it.
Yeah, well, it really sounds like it. So very cool. So obviously you've, dipped your hand in a lot of different things. Any last words you would like to share with our audience, Coach?
Well, look, just embrace what the media is trying to do for you. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I'm certainly not. As I said, I'm not trained to do this. I love to do it, and maybe that's the reason why I've been able to kind of forge the relationships that I have. But just so I don't think that the media is doing anything other than trying to promote players and trying to promote teams. And and I think too, even in media members themselves, I think media members have to be cognizant of the fact that even though a guy might be working for another network or another newspaper or another website, okay, it's ultimately about promoting these kids and promoting these teams. And that's the main thing that should be the focus, not your own personal agenda.
Definitely. Well, Bruce, thank you very much for coming on, and it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, I hope Justin, hopefully we can get together and do some stuff with CoachTools. I'm pretty confident that along my platforms or what have you that I do, that people are going to see information on CoachTools. I think it's a really great idea, really awesome product. and really looking forward to spreading the word on what you're trying to do to make it easier for coaches to do what they need to do, which is get out there and just coach.
Right. Exactly. And we're really excited about the future of it, and excited for us working together in the future.
Great, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Bruce.